Hey YouTube, Brendan Esguerra here, and today I'm going to be talking about some recent posts on the internet. Yes, I'm going to be talking about those rumors about Eddy and Eddy being brought back in 2019, and what are my thoughts and opinions about it. So here we go. First of all, that official promo art that has been leaked, it's not actually official promo art from Cartoon Network, sadly. It's actually a piece of fan art, but really good fan art that looks so good that it looks way too professional to be considered fan art. And whoever made it is a good artist. Now, I could say that it was actually made by Butch Hartman, which isn't far-fetched, because he made a video where he's drawn characters from different cartoons in the Fairly Odd Parents / Danny Phantom / Tough Puppy art style. However you want to call it. And we also know that Butch Hartman is now working for Cartoon Network. Now, it isn't very far-fetched, but I'm not really sure. Well, I'm not 100% sure if Butch Hartman actually made that concept art. Well, it does kind of have that Butch Hartman kind of vibe, and it kind of gives the three Eds kind of like a younger Americanized look, which I would love to see in a reboot of Eddy and Eddy. And also, there was also a post on social media about what the Eddy and Eddy reboot is going to be like. And about it, well, it mentions that there are no wobbly outlines and the cul-de-sac kids are good friends with the Eds. And they learn good morals and spend their money on charity. And the Eds become popular and star in a detective mystery film. And that the characters' parents appear in every single episode. And the Eds have new love interests that conflict the Cankers. And it's going to be supervised by the creator of the original show himself, Danny Antonucci. And my response, well, that does not sound anything like Eddy and Eddy or even a reboot. Because the other cul-de-sac kids being good friends with them and learning good morals and spending their money on charity, now that sounds more like a sequel to Eddy and Eddy. That kind of sounds more like events continuing from where Eddy and Eddy's big picture show left off. Despite that, it was actually meant to be an established ending for the show, but if it really was a sequel, then also Johnny would become the new antagonist. Yeah, Johnny would become the antagonist. You know, using his supervillain persona. That being the Gourd, and Plank becoming his evil partner, Timber the Dark Shard. Now that would make it a sequel. And also the Eds becoming very popular and learning good morals. And also spending money on charity. Well, now that doesn't sound like the Eddy and Eddy I know. The Eds I know aren't very popular. and they don't really spend their money on something like charity, gosh, Eddy would prefer to spend his money on jawbreakers. Yeah, Eddy would prefer to spend his money on jawbreakers. And also, the Eds learning good morals. Yes, they can learn good morals, but that's not something the Eds would actually encounter frequently. And also, the characters' parents appear in every episode, and the Eds having new romantic interests. Well, actually, in Edda and Eddy, there were no other characters. No adults, or no other neighborhood children. Nothing. So far, the only new character to appear in the show is Eddy's brother, as he's the only adult that appears on screen in the show, and also the only new character in the show. Of course, we did see the adults on the bus in Edda and Eddy's Big Picture show, and also we did see the arms of Eddy's dad and Ed's aunt. And of course, Plank's parents. But other than those, we don't see any real adults or any other characters. We only see the Eds, the cul-de-sac kids, and the cankers. And of course, Plank. And not to mention the only new character in the show, Eddy's brother. And not only that, it also mentioned that there are no wobbly outlines. Now, Danny Antonucci added the wobbly outlines for a reason. A very good reason. So it could stand out from the other shows on Cartoon Network and be more unique than the other shows on Cartoon Network, because the other shows actually use the straight outlines, and, getting rid of the wobbly outlines would make the show lose its uniqueness. But still, wobbly outlines or not, well, I hope they're not going to use Flash animation, because, sure, Flash animation would look great on any cartoon, and not just from Cartoon Network, but maybe on Nickelodeon or the Disney Channel or Disney XD. It's just not compatible with Edda and Eddy. The Flash animation doesn't look good, and of course, the colors are a bit faded and dull, and of course the Flash animation makes it cold and lifeless. And also, there are already too many Flash animated cartoons, and not just from Canada, but also here in America and in other parts of the world. And I actually want to see something different. So that's why, if there are going to be wobbly outlines, they should be hand-drawn with the ink and paint. Just like how Edda and Eddy originally was, and it made it so great, and it even made the wobbly outlines look good. But Edda and Eddy without any wobbly outlines at all, now it's not Edda and Eddy. And also the fact that the reboot is going to be supervised by the creator of the show himself, Danny Antonucci. Now, I don't think Danny Antonucci would be happy with all those changes, especially the fact that they would get rid of those wobbly outlines. Now that would definitely piss Danny off, because he wanted to make the show more unique, and he can't do the show without any of the wobbly outlines, at least. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Danny Antonucci wouldn't be happy with all those changes. And also, even if the show was actually... if the Eddy and Eddy reboot was actually going to be pitched by Butch Hartman, I highly doubt Butch Hartman would actually have the series greenlit, because Butch Hartman does not own Eddy and Eddy. Eddy and Eddy was originally made by Danny Antonucci, and if Butch Hartman was doing a reboot of Eddy and Eddy, he would literally have to contact Danny Antonucci to get to get a hold of the license to Eddy and Eddy. And also, he would also have to purchase AKA Cartoons, because AKA Cartoons shut down sometime after Eddy and Eddy's Big Picture show was released. But however, they only did 2 cartoons, Eddy and Eddy, and another show before that, The Brothers Grunt, which was shown on MTV, and its animation style isn't anything like Eddy and Eddy, but no. Its animation style actually looked more like the animation style of Ren and Stimpy, made by John Kricfalusi. Because The Brothers Grunt doesn't have any of the wobbly outlines like in Eddy and Eddy. And its art style kind of looks more like Ren and Stimpy rather than Eddy and Eddy. So I guess you couldn't tell it was actually made by the same people. But since they've only made 2 cartoons, I could see like maybe Frederator or any other cartoon company, not just in Canada but here in America also, buying AKA Cartoons so they can get a hold of Eddy and Eddy so they can greenlit the Eddy and Eddy reboot. Because a lot of certain companies buy other companies, as this big conglomerate thing so they can make more money. And also, about those, rumors and hype, well, there actually is proof that there might be new interest for the show. And here's some actual proof. The rap group, or, rapper JID, actually made a song named after Eddy and Eddy, and even made a music video in the style of Eddy and Eddy. Now that could also spark new interest in the show, and that's probably, why there are all these, rumors. Yeah, there are all these rumors. On social media and everywhere. Now, about Eddy and Eddy being brought back in 2019, well, I'm actually happy that they're bringing back Eddy and Eddy. Because, why? Because I'm more optimistic, positive, and open-minded, unlike most Eddy and Eddy fans here who say that they're, fans of Eddy and Eddy, whether they're true fans or fans at all, but they don't want Eddy and Eddy to be rebooted and brought back on Cartoon Network. That's because they're just a bunch of pessimistic, negative, simple-minded assholes who cannot see, that Cartoon Network might actually do a good reboot. Because don't get me wrong, Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls, and Ben 10 were terrible. But maybe with Eddy and Eddy, it'll be different. Maybe they'll actually improve with Eddy and Eddy from where Powerpuff Girls, Ben 10, and Teen Titans Go failed. Yeah. So I honestly think, as Eddy and Eddy fans, we should at least give Cartoon Network at least one more chance with their reboots. We should give Cartoon Network at least one more chance with their reboots with Eddy and Eddy. Because not all reboots are terrible, especially reboots from Cartoon Network, and not just a reboot of Eddy and Eddy, but other shows from Cartoon Network. Well, other classic shows from Cartoon Network. And also not just two reboots that actually might happen, such as the Galactic Kids Next Door, which isn't exactly a reboot, but a loose sequel continuing from where the original Kids Next Door series left off when it ended. And of course, the Courage the Cowardly Dog revival. Well, yeah, that revival actually came out like in 2014. But I did read on a video about a petition to bring back Courage the Cowardly Dog that John R. Dilworth actually confirmed that he would be happy to bring back the show, because John R. Dilworth does care about his fans. And also, I also read online somewhere that John R. Dilworth is currently talking with Cartoon Network about reviving the show. But I'm not really sure if that's true too, because that is just a rumor. But as for the Galactic Kids Next Door, yes, it actually might happen. But not just yet. Maybe sometime in the future, but who knows. So about, the Eddy and Eddy reboot, to any of those pessimistic, cynical bastards, we gotta stop blaming Cartoon Network for their shitty reboots, which include Teen Titans Go, Ben 10, and the Powerpuff Girls, because we gotta make room for some good reboots. And some of their future reboots might actually be good. And not just Eddy and Eddy, but those other shows, being Dexter's Lab, Billy and Mandy, and maybe even Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, or Camp Lazlo, or Johnny Bravo. Just to name a few. Yeah, we just gotta relax and give Cartoon Network at least one more chance. We just gotta relax because, hey, the Eddy and Eddy reboot might actually be good. I mean, sure, Cartoon Network screwed up with Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls, and Ben 10. But we gotta, relax and give Cartoon Network at least one more chance. Because it's better to be optimistic, positive, and open-minded. That makes a good, true, or in any way, or in anything that represents a fan of Eddy and Eddy. Yeah, because you just gotta be more open-minded, optimistic, and positive. And you literally gotta give Cartoon Network at least one more chance. I mean, I have a few good friends of mine who are actually fans of Justin Bieber, but still, I'm one of those guys who don't like Justin Bieber because there are 10 reasons why Justin Bieber is hated, and Bieber was pretty much a jerk to his fans. Yeah, but I'm the kind of guy who, even though I don't like Justin Bieber, and I'm definitely with those guys who don't like him, but I prefer keeping those opinions to myself because those people who are good friends of mine are fans of Justin Bieber and they want people like me and possibly other people who don't like Justin Bieber to give them one more, to give Justin Bieber one more chance, but that's their opinion, and I'm gonna have to keep my opinions to myself because I'm a nice guy and I have a good heart. And I'm a good person, so I don't want to seem like as much of a complete jerk as Bieber was to his fans. So I'm going to keep all those opinions about those reasons I don't like about Justin Bieber and, all that hate for Bieber. Well, you just got to keep those opinions to yourself. If you want to still have your friends, even though your friends actually like Justin Bieber, but you don't, well, you gotta keep those opinions to yourself. If you want to still keep your friends, like I do. Yeah. So the same should be for Cartoon Network with their reboots. Well, I actually meant that we should give Cartoon Network at least one more chance with their reboots. And you'll never know, maybe with Eddy and Eddy, it might actually be good, and so the same could be for other shows on Cartoon Network. And not just Eddy and Eddy, it could also be Adventure Time, because Adventure Time just recently ended as of 2018. And if they do a reboot of Adventure Time, well, since I'm doing a project for an Adventure Time reboot, well, it might, actually be good. Well, I'm trying to do that with my idea for the reboot, and also maybe Totally Spies, even though Cartoon Network doesn't really own Totally Spies. Well, there were rumors about a 7th season for Totally Spies, but so far nothing new, and it hasn't really have been confirmed yet, and we didn't see any pictures or clips or teasers or anything else from season 7, because it's been years past season 6. And so far, the Totally Spies movie, and yes, season 6 hasn't aired on TV here in America yet, but you can actually watch the movie in season 6 on YouTube, apparently. And also about that Eddy and Eddy reboot, well, I kind of think my ideas are better because I actually have ideas for the Eddy and Eddy reboot. Well, yeah, you can see them on my Instagram account along with those other posts, being my teasers for, my reboot of Adventure Time, and yeah, potentially my reboot of Totally Spies, but I'm not going to go into too much detail because of, spoilers. And I just gotta hope my ideas would caught on and, be involved with the hype of Eddy and Eddy being brought back in 2019 on social media sites, such as I mentioned, Instagram, and maybe here on YouTube. And anyway, we just gotta give Cartoon Network at least one more chance with their reboots with Eddy and Eddy, because you'll never know. Yeah, because it might actually be good, and you'll never know. Mostly anyone who is on YouTube or are fans of Eddy and Eddy will never know. So yeah, this has been Brendan Esguerra signing off. Until, if the Eddy and Eddy reboot is actually going to be good, and if the Eddy and Eddy reboot is going to be good, if the Eddy and Eddy reboot is actually going to be good, and if it's going to happen, well, only time will tell. Until then, this has been Brendan Esguerra signing off. Until then, when Eddy and Eddy is actually, if there is actually going to be an Eddy, if there is actually going to be an Eddy and Eddy reboot, and if it's actually going to be good, well, only time will tell. Until then, have an awesome day, and I hope you like it. This has been Brendan Esguerra signing off. Peace out.